Today I'm going to show you 5 things that you should be doing in Stardew Valley during winter. So let's go. As I'm moving around, I'm going to show you some minor things that you can be doing as well. But I'm going to show you 5 main things to do first. And the first one is, I'd highly recommend getting the Glacierfish during winter. You can find it down at this exact spot in Cindersap Forest. And you need to fish into the deep area. So your fishing rod has to be at least 4 points away from your character or from the nearest land. It takes a while to capture the Glacierfish, so just be patient. This is what it looks like. And we're going to go back to the farm and use it right now. On the way back, I'm just going to show you what are 2 things that you can do in winter that are not part of the main 5. One of them is collecting maple syrup and the oak resins, etc. Using tappers on trees. It's a lot easier to see the trees now because there's no leaves on them. And you could put these tappers on any tree, so I highly recommend putting the tappers on trees outside of your main farm. And that way they're easier to pick up and you could just pick them up on your way back. And maple syrup is used for all sorts of things. Winter foraging is very important, so make sure you get all of your crystal fruits and all of the other vegetables and fruits that are lying around the ground. And as usual, go to the traveling merchant every Friday and Sunday to see if the traveling merchant has anything that you're interested in or anything that is good for your movement speed. Actually, I'm going to take that green tea and we're going to drink it straight away. Just a bit of movement speed for today's video. But she might have something for the community center or something that you need in general. And I'm gonna go up to the farm now and put my Glacierfish into the pond. So building new buildings is another thing I'd highly recommend that you do during winter. So just for today's purposes, we're going to take out the other Glacierfish shooter that we have. We're gonna put our new one in there. And he's going to produce roe. And roe from Glacierfish, unfortunately, is not going to be as good as from Crimson Fish. But roe is very, very valuable and is going to be getting you a lot of money. For example, an aged Crimson Fish roe gives you 2,000 gold. So get rowing. Another thing that you can do in winter is, if you've unlocked it already, you can take care of the raccoons. And these guys are going to be looking for various items around the map, and it's pretty much guaranteed that it will be to do with what season you're in. So it won't ask you for any crops if you're in winter. So work on the raccoons a little bit and expand the shop so that you can get some pretty cool items like the raccoon journal or the raccoon hat. For example, I can't believe they're selling a raccoon hat in the raccoon shop. That's actually crazy. Like, did they want to hurt the other raccoons? Anyway, get your raccoons taken care of during winter. So I mentioned putting down buildings. I'd recommend putting down ponds on your farm. You can upgrade your barns. You could upgrade your coops. You can get new animals. That is one of the things I'd highly recommend that you do. You get your pigs and your ducks and your rabbits during winter time, and just pretty much focus on getting everything upgraded, maybe your house upgraded, and that just allows you to go into the next year with a lot of cool new stuff that you wouldn't have had if you didn't do this before. Next thing I'd recommend that you do is you get your artisan goods sorted during winter. So for example, I have lots and lots and lots of kegs here. And you pretty much are going to make anything that isn't plant-based on your farm in the winter. So for example, I have an ancient fruit here, and I'm going to make ancient fruit wine. But obviously you're not going to have ancient fruit on your first year of Stardew unless you're speedrunning it. So I'd highly recommend just putting other ingredients in here to get different types of wine, and you can gift those or you can sell them, depending on what you want to do for yourself. I'm rich enough, I probably don't have to sell it. And the most important artisan good to work on in winter, especially in your first winter, if you want to make loads of money, is getting your roe and getting it into the preserve jar so it becomes aged roe, so you can start selling it. For example, I got 9 of the legend row before, and I was able to turn that all into aged row. And just as a kind of an example, 4 aged legend 2 rows sell for 28,000. I believe out of 9 aged rows or aged legend rows, I got 45,000. And that was when I was poor on year 1. So I pretty much became rich on year 1. Aged row, 100%. During winter, this is your opportunity to get artifact spots because they're so much easier to spot now. So I would recommend going around daily looking for artifact spots, especially if you are trying to get 100% achievements in Stardew Valley, because there's always that one artifact that you can't find. And I would recommend going to the bus stop, which I'm just at now. Obviously, go just above town as well, just to see if there's any up here. But the 2 main ones that I recommend, 2 main places, or 3 actually, would be Cindersap Forest, where it's very hard to see where the artifact spots are normally during the normal seasons. You obviously have the beach, which is very important for making sure you have all the artifacts by the end of the game. And then if you go all the way up to the railway tracks, that's where you're going to get some of the more rarer artifacts as well. What to spend your money on in Stardew Valley during winter. So this is my next tip overall for Stardew Valley players in winter. First of all, you need to spend your money at this shop here. So we're going to be processing our geodes if you don't have a way to process these already, and you are getting books, which actually that's quite a rare book. That's interesting that I just got that. And you also want to upgrade your tools. All of my tools are upgraded, so you're spending money on that. And you are also spending money on buying and raising animals, upgrading your buildings, which I mentioned already. So get some money invested in that. And the most important thing is, if you have your money left over, make sure that you are buying as many books as you can, because now is the time to start upping your movement speed and just getting like Way of the Wind Part 1 and 2, which is quite expensive actually, and that's going to increase your movement speed. Very important in Stardew Valley. You get the horse book, and maybe you get the Queen of Sauce. So 100% recommend getting all of the books in winter. Who would have thought that there's a lot more to do in winter in Stardew Valley than people might think? And I haven't even covered everything. I'm covering the main things. I won't go in this door just in case it's a spoiler for you, but this is my final tip for during the winter in Stardew Valley, and that is work on your mastery. So when you are finished with your, even if you're not finished with your 10s yet, work on your mining, work on your foraging, work on your fishing, work on your combat. You won't really be able to work on your farming until you have the greenhouse. And then you want to work on your mastery. So if you have all these at 10 and you're just starting off your mastery, then now's the time to go and do the mastery. I highly recommend getting this as quickly as possible so that you can unlock some of the cooler stuff in the later part of the game. It's not for year 1 people. It's probably not even for year 2 people. But if you're in the 3rd winter in your game, you should be working on your mastery. So that's it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions.